now, there could be lengthy delays on Britain's biggest motorway, the M25, over the weekend. It will be closed in both directions between junctions 9 and 10 in Surrey from 9 p.m. tonight, and that's right through until 6 a.m. on Monday morning. That's while concrete beams for a new bridge are installed. Well, I'm joined now by James Barwise from the Road Haulage Association. Morning to you.
Good morning, Faye. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. So for your members, are there concerns about the road closures over this weekend? I mean, not just for this weekend. We've still got 3 further closures ahead, haven't we, later in the year?
That's exactly right, though thankfully none until June. It's going to be a very frustrating weekend for all motorists who regularly use the M25. But this is the second time this has happened this year. The first road closure, of course, was in March. And as far as everyone could, everyone handled it pretty well. The comms from National Highways were really good. Our members were able to plan their routes around the closure, follow the diversion. And on that occasion, it meant the motorway opened with 8 hours to spare. So although it was a very difficult weekend, at the time, I remember everyone saying that, all hell's going to break loose and everyone will be stuck in traffic forever. But actually, everyone managed, and it's going to be a frustrating weekend, but we hope it should be manageable with forward planning.
So as you say, it did go relatively smoothly, didn't it, last time in March? No mean feat closing that huge motorway, isn't it, around the Ring of London, if you like. Do you think there's a risk, though? People could be a little bit complacent this time because actually things did finish early in March. Could people get a little bit blasé and think, oh, I'll be fine?
I think when it comes to our members, there's no risk taken. And if there's anyone who's used to disruption, road networks and delays on our network, it's the good men and women who sit behind the wheel of a lorry and get our goods from A to B. But at the end of the day, this is actually dealing about a really serious problem, and that is congestion. As I'm sure you know, Junction 10 is the busiest stretch of the M25, with over 300,000 vehicles pass through it every day. And given that 3/4 of freight in the UK is transported on the road, the impact of congestion is actually felt really acutely by the haulage sector. So if you're stuck in traffic for an hour, that will add an extra £78 to the cost of delivery. Now, in and of itself, that may not sound a lot, but if that cost is repeated over, say, several journeys, over several vehicles, over several times, for example, because you keep getting stuck in congestion at Junction 10 of the M25, that's really going to become a huge burden if you're a local business. So, yes, this weekend's going to be really frustrating, but we're hoping, fingers crossed, as a result of these improvements being made over the course of this year, it's going to result in more efficient journeys for drivers and ultimately support hauliers in the local area.
And you mentioned the cost of delays. So, I mean, how important is it, though, that this work takes place, even if it is so disruptive? Is it a bit of a case of no pain, no gain?
It's absolutely essential, and we see it as short-term pain for a long-term gain. In 2022, it was assumed that congestion cost the UK economy £9.5 billion, which is a eye-watering figure. And this is a really interesting year to be talking about improving our roads, because later on this year, the government will be announcing the details of its third road investment strategy. So this is a document which is going to outline which schemes it wants to prioritise investment in over the coming years and how much funding will be given to do that investment. So we've seen positive signs already. So, for example, the government had its Network North package last year, which had about £36 billion, as well as its plan for drivers. But we feel the government can go a lot further. The M25 is a classic example of a scheme that when it was built, it was already oversubscribed. I think in 1993, they said they'd built a road for 88,000 vehicles a day and already 200,000 vehicles were using it. So this is just making sure that the government needs to continue investing in our road network, because at the end of the day, our trunk roads and our motorways, they are the lifeblood of our economy and they connect our towns, cities and businesses.